Hello, my name is Ian McKenna. I'm the head of the marketing subject here at Liverpool Hope University, and it's my pleasure to introduce you to the marketing provision that we offer here in the business school. I've got a few slides which I'm going to talk you through. My face will disappear as soon as we get to the next slide, so you can concentrate on the content rather than looking at my ugly mug. But I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our curriculum, how we teach, how we do our assessments, and then moving on to look at what we do beyond the classroom and how we link to industry and prepare all of our graduates for what comes beyond a brilliant university degree. So the first thing to say is that marketing is one of 4 subjects offered by the business school. We also offer business management, accounting and finance, and economics. Now, if you decided to come and study marketing, you can study it through one of 2 routes. You can either take what we call a single honours degree, which is basically that you focus on marketing from year 1 right the way through to year 3, and you go into the subject in great depth and come out at the other end with an excellent, robust, academically sound degree, a BA Honours in marketing. Or you can take marketing and study that alongside another subject in a combined honours degree. And we have many combinations. You'll find them listed on our website. But our most popular combinations at the moment seem to be marketing and business management, or marketing with film and visual culture, or marketing and creative writing, marketing and IT, marketing and sport. So we have a whole host of different subjects that you can use to complement a very good combined honours degree with marketing and another subject. The business school is located in the Eden building at our Hope Park campus. Now, the Eden building is a relatively new, very modern, very spacious, full of light and space, and it's a great place for students to meet and to study and to basically just hang out. It's one of our real iconic buildings on our Hope Park site. Now, Hope Park is our main campus, and that is based out on the edge of the city in a really lovely sort of parklands and area. Lots of good houses and shops and restaurants and bars around. And it's not too far at all to get into the city. It doesn't take too long at all to jump on a bus or into a taxi, and you can be in the city in less than 15 minutes on a good day. So we think our students come and spend their time out on the edge of the city in a really safe, beautiful, peaceful, inspiring environs, but they can then also be in the heart of the action very, very quickly. So we think you get the best of both worlds when you come and study here. I've talked about the fact that marketing is offered either as a single honours degree or can be combined with another subject, but the thing I wanted to say before we move on is that irrespective of which pathway you take, whether it's single honours or combined, our programs, our marketing programs, are accredited by the Chartered Institute of Marketing. So the professional body has looked at our degree programs and said, yes, they are current, they're relevant to what industry actually requires and to what the marketing profession would hope for from marketing graduates. And what that means is that irrespective of whether you take the single honours route or the combined honours route, you gain a good number of exemptions from the Chartered Institute of Marketing's professional qualifications. So within a very short space of time of graduating, if you really wanted to focus in on a career in marketing, you'd be able to gain professional membership. It's the membership that myself and my marketing colleagues hold, and many marketing colleagues throughout industry in the different sectors they hold, and it's recognised as being a real kite mark of excellence. Well, our degrees offer you good access and speedy access to being able to gain those qualifications, and we're really proud of our CIM accreditation. The other thing to just say, and this is not specifically to do with marketing, but it is to do with the business school in general, is that about 18 months or so ago now, we achieved AACSB accreditation, which is an international, a global accreditation. I think there's only 5% of business schools in the world who hold this accreditation, and it's a recognition of our excellence in teaching, in research, and in providing an inspiring student environment. So we're really proud of that qualification. It took us a long time to get to the point where we could achieve it. It usually takes a university around 7 to 10 years. We received our accreditation in 5, which felt like a long time, but actually in the grand scheme of things wasn't. But we're really proud that we hold both of those accreditations, and so you can be assured if you come and do a degree with us, then your degree will be recognised by employers and other institutions around the world as being absolutely top-notch. Let's just talk a little bit then about what you can expect from teaching within the curriculum for marketing and indeed our other business school subjects. We have a sort of 3 different modes of teaching on our degree courses. So the first is that we run lectures. And lectures is, usually where the lecturer is at the front of the class, or unfortunately over the last 18 months has been, on a Zoom call, for instance, online. But it's not quite where the lecturer is in transmit mode, but the lecturer is there to engage the students in thinking about models and theories and, the latest research. So it's a lecture is where the student sits in the lecture theatre, usually listens, challenges, asks questions, takes notes. But it's more of a, the information is coming from the front of the room, usually from the lecturer. But then we combine that with seminars, which are very much interactive sessions where the lecturer will facilitate a session, but it's really about group work, maybe debates, it may be running through some case studies, it may be doing some research either individually or in groups, but it's usually about discussion, it's usually about action, it's usually about trying to apply the theory and the models that we discussed in the lecture. And then we have tutorials, which are student-led, so the students usually either make a presentation or lead a group discussion and can raise anything around the topic that we've covered in the week with the tutors, and we can have a real in-depth discussion to make sure that you take away from the week what you need to, and that might be completely different to what the next student might require. So we try to have those tutorial groups, and we do have those tutorial groups running usually on a sort of 1 to 10, maybe 1 to 12 basis. So you get lots of time with the tutor and you get to know the group of students who you're in a tutorial group with, and if we can form a real learning community really quickly. One of the things we pride ourselves on at this university is knowing all of our students one by one. So our class sizes tend to be quite small, certainly compared to the other inner city universities. We like to have a sort of collegial environment. If you're looking for somewhere where you can be just a number in the crowd and the lecturer will never know who you are, then we're not for you. We take great pride in getting to know who you are, what you're trying to achieve with your career and your studies, and help you to, we try to tailor opportunities which suit your needs, and we can only do that by getting to know each of our students one by one, and we're really proud of them. It's a central part of the business school and the university's way of operations. Let's just talk a little bit then about the curriculum you can expect to engage in if you came onto a marketing program, and this sort of captures really the essence of the 3 years. Let's say you were doing the single honours. These are the kind of subjects that we would cover, the kind of curriculum we would cover over the 3 years. So if we start at the bottom of the page with our first year, so that's in the sort of the brown box, then we move into the second year in yellow and the third year in red. So when you come to us, some students may have done marketing as part of a business A-level or a BTEC, and other students will never really have engaged with marketing, although they may find the concept quite interesting. So our first year really goes to basics, and we look at the principles of marketing. So the bedrock stuff around marketing, which would be around the marketing mix. Now you may have heard the expression the 4 Ps or the 7 Ps, or even the 8 or the 9 Ps now, depending on which author and which school of marketing you look at. But it's usually product, price, place, promotion, and it's the toolkit that a marketer has to actually make their product appealing and position it in an appropriate way to make you and I want to engage with that brand and buy that product. So we spend a lot of time looking at principles of marketing, things like our marketing mix, looking at things like segmentation, targeting and positioning. So a company very rarely looks at a whole marketplace and says, oh, we're going to try and sell everything that we've got in the same way to that one big group of people. What they do is they look for segments, they look for, parts of society who they can bunch together, who all have similar wants and needs, and then they can tell a story to that particular group. And they might sell the same product, exactly the same product, to another group, but they'd have to tell a slightly different story to that group because that group would have different needs and wants from the first group. So think of the motor industry. Ford has a whole range of products. They don't try and sell each of those products to everyone. They look really carefully about who they're targeting. So their Ford Ka, the entry level product, the very small, quite low in price Ford car, they look at selling that to students, or they look to sell that to young mums, or they look to sell that to elderly people. And it would be the same vehicle, but they'd sell it in a different way. For young people buying their first car, they'd put, emotions around it like excitement and speed and passion and love, the kind of things that will appeal to that demographic. Whereas if you're marketing the same product to a young mum, then she's not really interested in speed. What she's really interested in perhaps is safety, and that even though it's a small car, she can drive around town and park it quite easily, and that there's enough room in the boot to put the baby's buggy and equipment, etc. So it's the same product, but they sell it in a different way, and we spend a lot of time looking at that particular concept. We also spend a long time looking at who we are as shoppers and consumers. And why do we like the things that we like? Why do we not like certain brands, but we're very loyal to other brands? What happens in our heart and our minds and our brain when we decide to make a purchase? And so we look at consumer behavior. We look at consumer behavior actually throughout the 3 years, but we do a really strong base of consumer behavior learning in year 1. We also have to look at the environment, about what's going on in the world, both from a stuff that is very close to a company, like its competitors and its suppliers and its customers, that people like that, but also what's going on with the weather, the economic weather. Now, you'd have to have been living in a hole in the ground, wouldn't you, to not realize that we've just, we're still probably going through Brexit, the implications of Brexit, which have been with us for a long time. They've changed the way that businesses and consumers operate. And over the last 18 months or so, COVID has been around, and that's again just decimated the high street and changed the way we shop and changed the way people do business, etc. So we look at those aspects. So the first year is about principles of marketing, looking at the environment and what's going on and how that impacts on companies and their marketing behavior, and then looking at ourselves and saying, what happens? How do we engage in our shopping and our consumption? The second year, really, we carry on with consumer behavior, but the majority of the second year is focused on 2 key things. The first is the sort of creative side, what's seen as creative side of marketing, which is the communication, so the advertising, some social media, the PR activities that go on, the direct marketing. And then on the flip side of that coin, we look at some of the hard-nosed business decisions that companies make, and they tend to make those based on evidence and data and what's going on in the marketplace and what their customers are telling them. So we look at marketing research methodologies in equally close quarters than we do the creative side. You need, as a marketer, to be able to turn your hands to both the creative side but also the evidence driven content. So we look at that in the second year. And then in the third year, we're really at cutting edge kind of stuff. So we look at advanced branding. We look at even further marketing research issues around how we data mine, looking at big data, the algorithms that create the direct marketing messages that Facebook, etc., sends to you. We look at those kind of issues. We also look at neuromarketing, which is relatively new to the marketing world, but it's examining what goes on in our brains and our nervous system when we're exposed to certain stimuli. And marketers can really get under the skin, pardon the pun, of how we're feeling and how we react to things. and they can tell a lot about how we may react in the business world or in the retail environment, etc. Just by examining our heart rate, our skin conductivity levels, our brain waves when we're exposed to various stimuli. It's a fascinating area. So we look a lot at that and some of the really cutting edge stuff before you actually graduate. Now, up both sides of the diagram you can see there digital marketing and social media. We do have the occasional sort of short blocks in both of these, but actually what I prefer to do with these things now is just marble them right the way through the curriculum. So no matter what topic we're looking at, digital and social media marketing will be part of that conversation. So although you don't see it in the main body of topics that we're covering, it's like oxygen now in marketing. Everything now is based around you using your mobile phone and you using digital and mobile technology and you engaging on social media platforms. So we just can't escape that, but I wouldn't want to try and box it and say, oh, we're doing 3 weeks of social media or 3 weeks of digital marketing. Everything we do these days is talked about with those kind of lenses. So it goes right the way through the degree program. So I've talked a lot about the content. So what kind of things will we actually look at? Well, we look at the science within retail environments and see how do companies design their stores and design their websites in order to keep us either on the website or in the stores longer, and for us to buy certain things. And there's a lot of psychology used, there's a lot of colors used, there's a lot of sort of impulse triggering going on, and it's a fascinating subject, and we look really closely at how companies do their merchandising. We've got some great links as well to the likes of the John Lewis partnerships and Tesco, and their store managers often allow our students into the stores and give them talks about, well, you've covered the theory in class about how we go about creating the best value for our customers and increasing our revenue by our store design. Let's show you how we do it in practice. So we take what we learn in the classroom and we go out into industry. We look at Facebook, as I said, and the algorithms, and why do two people who are very similar to each other get different direct mail messages through their Facebook pages and Instagram, etc. And that's because we leave our own digital footprint. So we look into how that information is collected and crunched to give us the personal messages that we may require. We look at things like, are you pouring on the pounds down in the left hand side of the diagram there, and that's how marketing can be used to change people's behavior, hopefully for the good. So to try and get us to stop drinking and driving, eat 5 a day, all of those kinds of campaigns. We look very carefully about how marketing can do that. And then the two diagrams which are next to each other here are, opposite ends of the scale really, but we look carefully about the death of the high street. And the fact that, as we move online and as COVID impacts, etc., high streets are just dying out as we used to know them and being replaced by, online shopping, but also lots of big retail malls like Liverpool One and the Trafford Centre and the Merry Hill Centre across the country. So we look at what's happening there and how communities can actually survive with that in mind. And then the diagram next to it, which is a sort of planning document from Amazon. Now, Amazon have got now planning permission in most major towns and cities to build what they call their beehives. And these are basically drone centres, because they say to us that within the next 5 years, they're going to be delivering most of our parcels via drone, which is fairly disruptive and fairly sort of space age, contemporary marketing issues going on there, where they're really disrupting the market with their new technology and their new way of thinking. So we look at those kinds of issues as well. And then really quickly, we look at a whole host of other issues. The lady in the top left hand corner is perpetually connected. So she's come out of her office block, she's walking to get the bus home, she's still on her tablet communicating with her friends. How do marketers get to the new consumer these days? And it's through mobile technology. So we spend a lot of time looking at that. The toothpaste, the Colgate, how does a brand stand out? How does a brand differentiate itself? If you go into Boots or any of the pharmacies and look at the toothpaste rack, you'll see 20, 30 different types of toothpaste. How do they appeal to the marketplace and get more of us to buy their product than something else? Down on the right hand side, We look at TV adverts and social media adverts, and we look at the science and the art behind them and how they try to engage us with their various mechanisms and tricks of the trade, as it were. And we spent a long time looking at marketing communications. And then down on the left hand side we have the issue about cultural differences, international differences, and when companies take their products which they can sell in a certain kind of packaging, certain kind of ingredients, with certain kind of marketing messages in one country, can they go and do that in an international market or a global market? And so we look at marketing, as I said earlier, really through a global lens. Like all of the subjects in the business school, marketing is assessed in a blend of different ways. So in year one, it tends to be, in-class assessments, reports and essays. We do some portfolio-based work, which you may remember as being sort of, continuous assessment. So throughout the year, there are a number of small pieces of work which add up at the end of the year to a mark. So we do some of that, and we have some essays, and we have some multiple choice tests, and we have some in-class tests as well. And at the end of the year, we have either examinations, or this year, because of COVID, etc., we've decided to just have end of year assessments, which are not formal examinations. But normally we'd have exams at the end of each of the 3 years. In the second year of marketing, as well as the reports and essays, we look at some of the real practical tools that you'll need. If you're going to go into marketing, you need to be able to produce a marketing plan. So we assess your ability to do that. You need to be able to pitch a campaign or pitch a particular product and try and sell it. So we engage with you at that, and we have group and individual pitches and presentations. And in your final year, as well as doing your final exams, etc., you'll also have a dissertation where you'll choose a marketing topic that really interests you and do an in-depth piece of research, which sets you aside from many other marketing graduates as you complete and go towards your job applications, etc. Just to say as well that marketing is a degree course here at Liverpool Hope which really does engage our students, and our students year after year give us excellent scores when it comes to student satisfaction. So every year the government has a big campaign where they survey all third year students in universities, and they ask them about their experience at the university on the programmes of study. Marketing this year was 4th best in the UK for overall satisfaction. We're really proud of that. We're a small university, small marketing team, but we were ranked 4th best in the UK for overall student satisfaction. And you'd be not surprised then to know that we were first actually in the northwest of England, the northwest of the UK. So we know we give a really good service to our students. We really look after them. We think about them. We challenge them. It's not all about being warm and fluffy. We're here to challenge and to get you thinking and applying the stuff that you're learning in a really robust way. But we do look after our students well, and we listen to them all the time, and that's reflected in this excellent score again this year. The facilities that we have an excellent library in the university, and we continue to make sure that the business and the marketing sections are kept as contemporary as we possibly can. A lot of our documents and our books now are electronic, so you don't have to scramble to the library on day one to get one of the only 6 or 7 copies of a hard copy book, and your other students have beaten you to it, and you've got to wait a month until they return the documents. Most of our key texts now are all available as electronic versions, so anyone can access them at any time, and you can read and download various sections. So we're really proud about that. We have our own IT lab at the moment. The business school has a dedicated IT lab which students can drop in and use to do their assessments and use to do their research, etc. So we've got lots of IT equipment and support available to you, and we've got some great learning spaces in the Eden building which we've relocated to in the last 6 months. There's excellent sports facilities at the university. I think you pay something in the region of, I think last year it was £25 for membership, and then that was, that did you for the entire year. So you can use the sports facilities, the gym, the health equipment for a one-off fee, and then you don't pay anything at all for the rest of the year. And it's an absolutely excellent package and the facilities are top notch. They're real state of the art. So we think that's a superb opportunity that many of our students do well to take up. We're a business school, and so we're really engaged with local businesses and regional businesses and often national businesses as well. And we take your employability equally as seriously as we do your academic qualification. So we've introduced just this year actually an employability passport into all of our business school programs, and at year one we do lots of work around soft skills, around communication and resilience and self-awareness. And then in step 2, in the second year, we have a silver award, which looks at you developing a professional profile through placement opportunities, through internships, through doing some projects with companies that we can facilitate from time to time, from getting some good practice volunteering, whatever it may be, to develop a professional profile. And then in the final year, we help you to really think about where you're applying and what kind of industry and what kind of job and what kind of career role you want to go into. And that's all done not outside of the curriculum, it's done inside at the very heart of our program, because we recognize that this is almost equally as important as understanding the theory, the models and the application. So we're really proud of our employability program. We have this dedicated employability support. We have an employability manager, and she works with our academics to provide lots of support to our companies and puts us in touch with lots of companies out and about across Merseyside and beyond. We have a full suite of guest lectures, so it's not just the academics and the professional tutors speaking to you all the time. We have people from industry who come in and complement the work that we're doing. So you'll hear from me about the theory and the models of marketing, and then we'll hear from guest industry speakers saying, yeah, well, you've heard what Ian said about this model. Here's how my company puts that into action, in industry. So we're really proud of the fact that we have lots of partners come in from industry to talk to you. We take our students out. I said about John Lewis and Tesco. We take our students out and about, COVID permitting, to lots of different companies to see how they work from a marketing and a general business point of view. And we have an industry week in the business school where we take you off timetable, and that is devoted to us taking you out to different companies and engaging in really good conversations with people who may have sat in your seats as students maybe 5 or 6 years ago and are now making their way in the world. You can engage with our European partners, and we can try and help you to source student placements and internships. And we send our students on an international business game on a regular basis overseas, to both Lille and Ghent is the 2 places that we're partnered with at the moment. And we have this twice a year, we have this international business game which our students compete in. You get to do a bit of traveling, you get to work in international teams, you get to do some intercultural work. All of this is absolute gold dust to students. And these are some of the companies who we work with. These are some of the companies who you might get access to. We've got some research going on with many of these companies like Everton. We have students going out to places like the Crown Plaza, Lloyds Bank, the Brain Charity on a regular basis to do student-led projects or internships or student placements. So we have lots and lots of opportunities for you to engage with the outside world while you're at university, not when you finish, but while you're at university. And that helps you to build up industry contacts, and it helps you to contextualize the stuff we're talking about in class. So that when you go into industry, it's not just about having the theoretical knowledge, you understand how that is being applied. So we've talked a little bit about industry placements. We also take all of our students to our outdoor education centre in Snowdonia. We have a trip there every year where we take our first years to go out there, and they bond with each other and with the staff, and we do lots of stuff outside, which has a sort of theoretical underpinning to some of the people-based business problems that we study over the course of the 3 years. We also have a Service and Leadership Awards, SALA, which students can engage with right the way throughout their 3 years. If volunteering and supporting the community is one of the things that motivates you, then you can engage with that from the word go at the university. And that when you graduate with your degree and also with the Hopes Service and Leadership Awards, which is seen, increasingly now by employers and agencies as being something which is really worthwhile. It shows that you've engaged with society as well as bettering your own career. At university, you've really thought about how you can serve others, and that's a great thing to have. As you go into industry, or you go into work with the local communities, and it's a real, organisations recognise the value of that. Our Students' Union is excellent as well, because we've only got a relatively small student body. Our Students' Union can be really thoughtful about the kinds of activities and services that they provide to our students, and we've got one of the best, in my opinion, and most vigorous student union bodies in the country. So I hope you've enjoyed the sort of fairly quick walk through the marketing program. If you have any questions at all on the marketing program, then please get in contact with us. The main numbers and web pages and email addresses are on the page here. I hope you enjoyed hearing about our marketing degree, and I hope that one day we're going to see you at the first lecture of the new academic year after you've thought about your options and decided that Liverpool Hope and the marketing subject, whether it's single honours or combined honours, is exactly the kind of programme for you. So best of luck in whatever you do, and we do hope to see you soon.